Mind reading. We already know, the brain's internal processing system is linked to the subconscious. Therefore, when a question is asked, the brain will compute subconsciously and you will see a physical movement of the eyes. There are 9 main eye patterns. Primary focus attention. Controlled muscle vision, SR, IO and 10 SR, IR, S0 and SO, IR. Subconscious visually constructed thought pattern. IO, SR. Subconscious visually remembered thought pattern. SR, IO. Subconscious auditory constructed thought pattern. LR, Mr. Subconscious auditory remembered thought pattern. Mr. LR. Subconscious auditory internal dialogue. LR, Mr. Subconscious kinetic thought patterns. IR so and IR so. Someone who is remembering a visual image will glance upwards. For example, asking for the description of their home, you will find the person looking up to the left very frequently, IOSR. As they visualize certain images in the mind, e.g. the shape and color of furniture, front door, etc. A person who is constructing an image in the mind will look upwards and to the right. SRIO. Now ask a person to remember a tune of a song. You will notice his eyes will go directly to his left side, Mr. LR, very briefly, as he remembers audio sounds within his memory. Then ask him for a reconstructed sound, a make-believe sound, LR Mr., such as elephant heels clicking together with the sound of water when walking by. You will notice his eyes slide to the right very briefly and then back. A request for a feeling, or a taste sensation, such as, what does fur feel like? Or what does caramel taste like? Then the eyes will go down to the right. Olfactory and gustatory are linked to kinesthetic movements. IR so and so IR. Internal dialogue is where someone is talking within themselves. This, although an auditory process, is also connected to the kinetic system, and you will find this person looking down to the right. IR so. Sometimes a person whom you will be talking to and observing may close their eyes briefly, but you can still follow the internal processing under the eyelids. All the above hypothesis is basis upon right-handed people, opposite if left-handed. Listen. The study of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is a modern science. However, the fluent observation and comprehension of people's internal process, combined with body language, will take time and practice to master. Listening to the way people talk is a positive way of knowing what internal cognitive process system they are using mostly. For example, a person who processes mainly on a visual mode will talk to you in pictures. He, she would very often in their speech say, I see, or, that's a bright idea, or, the way I see it, or, it looks good to me, or, my viewpoint is, or, I see red, and so on. A person who processes with an auditory mode will say things such as, it sounds good to me, or, I don't like the tone of that, or, that rings a bell, or, I hear what you say, or, I say, etc. A person who talks to you in a kinetic mode, feeling, will say something like, it feels good to me, I can't knock it, or, I can hack it, or, to get to grip with it, and other feeling words. An important sequence when a person raises the vocal sound of their voice slightly up, when saying, no, is a general giveaway of fabricating or deceiving someone. The gustatory and olfactory system is used mainly when eating, although these senses are also used when fact-finding and memory enhancing. For example, smelling food before eating, smelling the air for odors, and the smell of leather in a new car, that may stimulate a memory. What internal cognitive process are you using mostly? Try to analyze yourself. Do you feel a great deal of emotion? Do you talk out situations and listen to voices in your head? Or do you spend most of your time dealing with pictures in your mind's eye? We all use these 3 cognitive processes, but one will be more dominant than the others. The one we use mostly distinguishes our psychological makeup of being either a visual, kinetic, or auditory. Know your internal thoughts. Have you uncovered what internal process you're using mostly? Do you form pictures when you are reading a book or magazine? Are you an artist, or do you appreciate the arts? Do you view pictures in magazines in detail? Are you a keen cinema or TV addict? Can you visualize pictures and images easily in your mind? Have you a wild imagination? These are just some of the clues to help you decide if your internal processing is done mainly on a visual basis. Visual people tend to do jobs such as jewelers, video sales, cinema managers, photographers, painters, flower arranging, window cleaning, hairdressing, or any other jobs that entails creative work. Do you read out in your mind every word when you read a book or magazine? Do you talk out situations and listen to voices in your head? Do you find yourself talking to yourself often? Are you a musician or do you appreciate all music? Are you a good talker or listener? Have you a good response to high or low-pitched sounds? These are just some of the traits an auditory person would have. An auditory person would probably have a job as a telephonist, an accountant, insurance, consultant business, relate officer, music industry, speaker, sales promoter, or any other intangible job. Are you an emotional person? Do you feel or touch objects frequently? Are you sports-minded? Do you subconsciously touch someone when talking to him or her? Can you feel the cold and heat easily? Do you feel pain easily? Do you like to do manual work? Are you satisfied when you are physically worn out? Kinetic jobs would include selling silks, furs, sport equipment, or travel agency, driving jobs, laboring, sport players, masseurs, physiotherapists, funeral directors, tailors, or any other job that includes touch and emotions. The subconscious, your personal service mechanism, is interlinked to your autonomic nervous system. All your physical actions are portrayed by subconscious, non-conscious thinking outer actions. To read another person's mind process is very interesting. Nevertheless, it can take years of practice to master every small action that your prospect constructs subconsciously. A medical surgeon or doctor will spend 6 to 10 years studying and practicing before putting scalpel to flesh. How long are you prepared to give to the study of human mind programming before putting this information to practice? Please read and listen to this last section over and over until your subconscious mind takes on board all the information. And have you discovered which internal cognitive process you use mostly? If so, write it down now. It is important that you realize and know your own internal thought process orientation, so that you can adapt to situations and put yourself into the other person's mind. Please come back to the next part of the course. Personality types.